Going on, everyone? Los Angeles Lakers want to move Russell Westbrook, and one of the big destinations were a deal between the New York Knicks and the Utah Jazz. But there's a lot of questions with that deal getting done now, right? The Knicks, they decided to keep RJ Barrett and extend him, and it's not that the Knicks can't get the job done. It just makes things a lot more complicated because the original offer was RJ Barrett, right? They had RJ Barrett, 2 first-round picks in the deal. Well, now that's off the table, so now they got to renegotiate, and it just becomes a mess all over again. So the big question is, what happens to Russ? The Pacers deal, we finally got the information on the Indiana Pacers. I made a video about that. I'll even link that video down in the description below in case you didn't see it. Check it out after this video. But with the Pacers deal, the Pacers asking price is insane. And it just makes no sense. The Lakers are literally better off keeping Russell Westbrook than to do the Pacers deal in the way that the Pacers want to do it. Now, could that get negotiated back down? Things like that, it's very possible. But when it comes to the Donovan Mitchell trade, because that is the key, the Utah Jazz likely aren't going to make any trade for Russell Westbrook without Donovan Mitchell getting traded. So if we want the pieces and the assets from the Jazz, and then some add-ons that we would have gotten from the Knicks, like maybe an Evan Fournier or Cam Reddish, things like that. We need Mitchell to be traded. Another team has emerged as a suitor for Donovan Mitchell, and that is the Washington Wizards. Now, the Wizards actually believe that they submitted a package that is worthy of this trade getting done. They believe it'll get done. Now, here's the thing. The only way the Wizards can do this deal is either they trade Kristaps Porzingis or they trade Kyle Kuzma. And this is where the Lakers could come in, right? The Lakers could be the third team, and now what is a Wizards, Jazz, and Lakers deal where the Wizards would get Donovan Mitchell, the Jazz would end up with, several young players, Davis, the rookie that they got, maybe they give like Hachimura. Also, you'd have to include, like I said, Kyle Kuzma or Kristaps Porzingis, one or the other. You wouldn't have to include both. So then it just comes down to who would the Wizards rather have? Would they rather have Kyle Kuzma or would they rather have Kristaps Porzingis to kind of round out this big three, right? Because you would have Bradley Beal and then Donovan Mitchell. Would you prefer that big down low that could spread the floor, or would you like that wing player that can be the defender and knock down shots? Not just that, Kuzma was a solid contributor for the Wizards last year. He had little over 17 and a half points per game. He increased his assist total, his rebounds, all that stuff. He had a very solid year for the Wizards. So they want to go that route and have that defender because Bradley Beal and Donovan Mitchell aren't the greatest defenders. Although Donovan Mitchell was known as a defensive player coming into the league, and he does have a 6'10 wingspan. So maybe if he's on a team where he doesn't have to do all this heavy lifting and all the scoring, maybe he'll be a better defender. Bradley Beal, he has his moments here and there, but he's not, a stout defender. He's nothing to brag about. But yeah, the Jazz could end up getting a package around that. And then obviously Russell Westbrook would go to the Jazz as well. And then you do that deal, and then the Lakers would get their pieces from the Jazz, right? They would end up getting, Bogdanovich and Beasley or maybe a Conley or Clarkson. Personally, I'd rather get the wings. I'd rather get the Bojan Bogdanovich and the Malik Beasley. If we could get those two, that would be perfect. And then we could end up landing somebody from the Washington Wizards. You really need Hachimura, and you don't really need Davis. So what if the Lakers could get Kyle Kuzma back, right? That would be huge. And Kuzma, 27 years old, does that make a lot of sense for a team of the Utah Jazz who are trying to fully rebuild, right? They're trying to rebuild. They want young players and assets. Well, they're getting 2 young guys and Davis and Hachimura, and then as well as, several draft picks. Lakers send Russell Westbrook to them, and then they get, say, Kyle Kuzma. They get, Bogdanovich, and they end up getting Beasley. Again, there's your wing depth. There's your defense. There's your guys. Kuzma could play the 4 if need be. He's played a lot of the 4, which is great. If, let's say, Anthony Davis misses a couple games. The beauty of Kuzma, though, too, is one, Laker fans would welcome back open arms. Laker fans are upset that he was traded. Secondly, you know what you're going to get with Kuz. And you know that Kuzma fits with Davis and LeBron because they won a championship with him. And he was a key contributor in the bubble and all that stuff. So if they could get Kuzma back along with Bojan Bogdanovich and a Malik Beasley, I think that that's huge. I mean, I can understand the argument for Cam Reddish just because he's younger and the potential's there and he could kind of maybe be our Kuzma but better. You're talking a guy that's 5 years younger than Kyle Kuzma. What could he become? But Kuz has been very solid since he's came into this league. And again, there's no questions with him. He's a guy that can come in right away and be a huge contributor. He could be your third scoring option. He doesn't need the ball in his hands. He can play off the ball. He can play on the ball. The Lakers would be huge in getting Kuzma back. A lot of people were really upset that he was traded in the Westbrook deal, but it was the only way to really make the salaries match. You couldn't keep Kuz, so you had to trade him. Well, if you have an opportunity to get him back in the Westbrook trade, why not? Get Kuz, Beasley, and Bog. I mean, there you go. There's your 3 wing players to add to the team you already got. I think that would be pretty legit. I would be excited if Kyle Kuzma came back, but let's say it's not Kyle Kuzma, because what if the Wizards are like, no, we want to keep Kuz, defensive wing. Wings are huge in the league right now. We don't need a scoring big. We need a defensive big. Maybe they go get a guy like DeMarcus Cousins or Hassan Whiteside, something like that, to kind of take up the spot of, your Porzingis. Would you welcome Porzingis on the Lakers? He's got, 2 years left, I believe, with a player option next year, which I imagine he would opt into. But he's a guy that could play the 5 if you need be. He could also play the 4. It's kind of a lot of the same things that you would get with the Miles Turner deal. So what if you could get Kristaps Porzingis, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Malik Beasley? Is that something that you like? Do you think that would be better than Kuzma? Because you got this big that could play the power forward and the small forward. Again, Anthony Davis, or power forward and center, my apologies. But no, Anthony Davis, if he's out, you could have Kristaps play the 4. You still have, Damian Jones and Thomas Bryant. So you'd have your bigs. You'd have your big rotation locked up. You get your 2 wing players. There you go. You already got your guards and everything like that. You could bring in Dennis Schroeder if you need to. There you go. There's your roster. I don't think it would be bad if the Lakers ended up with Kristaps Porzingis. And this is something I actually talked about a while ago. I made a video talking about Washington because Russell Westbrook is a huge spot for Washington is a huge spot for Russell Westbrook because they need a starting caliber point guard. Obviously, if they get Donovan Mitchell, then that probably rules them out. But in that proposed idea was what if we got Kristaps Porzingis and maybe Kyle Kuzma back for Russell Westbrook? He could run it back with them, all that stuff. You get that solid player. But in this case, you could end up with either Kuz or Porzingis, which either I would be all for, and you get your wing players, which the Lakers desperately need. I think however you shake it, if the Wizards are that third team that is getting Donovan Mitchell, the Lakers would still be in the best interest to go get those guys, go get those assets, and make this team good. My only concerns with Porzingis is his injury history. He's more injured than Anthony Davis. So now you got Anthony Davis and Porzingis both just, made out of glass in many ways. And it's just is that the best scenario? But you're not locked into Porzingis long term. You're not locked into him. And he's a, high reward type player. If he can come in and be that 20-point-a-game guy, 19-point-a-game guy, knock down shots from the outside, he would fit perfectly in Darvin Ham's system. I mean, perfectly. Because you think of Brook Lopez, Portis, Bobby Portis, guys like that. That's why they run those guys, because they can shoot the 3 ball. Well, if you had Porzingis and you have Davis, and that's also why they went and got guys like Thomas Bryant and Damian Jones, because they're 2 bigs that can shoot the 3 ball. Well, Porzingis would fit that perfectly. So you get a big that can shoot, a big that can block shots. He's not the greatest defender, or at least on-ball defender in the world, but you're probably not trying to do your best not to put him in mismatch situations like that. But him and Anthony Davis down low, Anthony Davis could probably make up for that a lot. Porzingis, he can hold his own down there. He's not that Boehner type of big guy, I have my concerns for when we play Denver, or if we play, Philly, stuff like that. But who's really stopping those guys regardless? And it's good to have all these bigs. That was the beauty in 2020, right? We had so many bigs. We just wore the Joker down. You just keep throwing guys at him, big bodies. Even if they can't really hold them, it's just about just throwing a guy after a guy after a guy after him. And, it's one guy against 4, essentially. eventually he's going to get worn down before your 4 guys do. So I would be more than happy if Kristaps Porzingis came to the Lakers. I'd be more than happy if, Kyle Kuzma came to the Lakers. Does this make them a contender? I don't know. I still don't think it really makes them a contender, but I do think it's a huge step in the positive direction. I think Porzingis could be the guy you could play with Davis, without Davis. You could run him and LeBron. You could run, I just think he gives you a real opportunity. Kuzma, again, same thing. Kyle Kuzma, he's a guy that we know can fit, can play defense, can easily be your starting small forward on this team, on this roster. I think it would be great. You have LeBron. LeBron's going to be your point guard if that's the case. So you could have LeBron, Beverly, Kuz, Davis, and Thomas Bryant as your starting 5. And then have Malik Beasley, Bogdanovich coming off the bench, or you could run Kuz off the bench, stuff like that, or run Beasley. If you want to go younger, run Beasley at shooting guard because he's like 6'4", 6'5", something around there. So you have options is my point. You have all these wing players. You have these interchangeable players. If the Lakers could work something out like this to where you get Kristaps, you get Bojan, you get, a Beasley, I think that's a good position. Or, just like we talked about with Reddish, Bogdanovich, and Beasley, you're just basically swapping Reddish for Kyle Kuzma. I don't think that's a bad deal at all. I don't think that's a bad situation. Kuz kind of doesn't fit the financial flexibility for the future, but, he's not on a terrible contract. You got him on a good contract. He's a guy that will fit. There's no questions, no doubts, no nothing when it comes to Kuzma. He's going to give you night in and night out. Hopefully he can get over that inconsistency bug, which he was a lot better with this past season. Going back to the third option, though, is that going to be something that he's going to be able to readjust to? That's a big question you have to keep in mind too, because the reason he was so successful this past season was because he kind of was the guy, especially when Bradley Beal went down. He's kind of the guy. He was handling the scoring load, stuff like that. Well, now he's coming back. Davis and LeBron are still going to be those guys. He's now the third option. But if he can kind of maintain that, 15 to 17 points a game, I think that's a huge steal, a huge pickup, and I think would be really great for the Lakers. But anyway, those are my thoughts and opinions. And as always, I pass the question on to you. Let me know yours down in the comment section below. Would you be all for the Wizards? And if the Wizards and the Jazz work out a deal, do you want the Lakers to get involved? Who would you rather have? Would you rather have Kuzma or Porzingis? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that as well. And I'd love to hear your argument for why you want the one you want, whether it's Kuzma or Porzingis. Which combination of players would you rather have? From the Jazz and of course the Wizards. Sorry, blank for a second, but the Wizards. Out of those two, which of the group of players would you realistically like to see the Lakers acquire? Ideally, home run for me, I think I got to go Kuz, Beasley, and Bogdanovich. I think that would be great because I think we have enough bigs, enough size, stuff like that. Kuz could play the 4 if we need him to. LeBron could play the 4 if we need him to. Davis is another guy that could play the 5. So you kind of got your 4s and 5s locked in. You got your 3s locked in. You got your 2s, your 1s. I think the Lakers are deep. They're skillful. They're talented. They got a little bit of everything. I think the Lakers would be in a good position. But I wouldn't be mad if it's Porzingis. I wouldn't be mad at all if it's Porzingis. I think that could really help as well. If we could get Bogdanovich, Beasley, and Porzingis, look, you won't hear a peep out of me. I'll be happy that worked out. But anyway, again, however you feel about it, love to hear your thoughts. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.